This is the Farm Monitor. For over 50 years, your source for agribusiness news and features from around the Southeast and across the country, focusing on one of the nation's top industries, agriculture. The Farm Monitor is produced by one of the largest general farm organizations, the Georgia Farm Bureau. Now here are your hosts, Ray DeLessio and Kenny Bergamy.
Well, hi there. Welcome to the program, your one-stop shop for your agricultural needs. Good show this week. A trip to Tifton, plus not one, but two stops in Atlanta.
That's right. Let's check out that rundown straight ahead. After its doors were closed due to COVID-19, the Georgia Ag Museum is once again up and running. Some might say better than ever. We'll explain. If you live in rural middle Georgia and you happen to be frustrated with your internet service, or maybe the fact you don't have any at all, you'll soon have 210 million reasons to be excited. Plus,
well, hey everybody, Ranger Nick coming up a little bit later. You know, it's not very often that I get into an urban area like downtown Atlanta, Georgia, but that's where I am this month on the rooftop of the Kendeda building, Georgia Tech, talking sustainability, water treatment, and solar energy. That and a whole lot more starts right now on the Farm Monitor.
We're now approaching a year since the country shut down due to the ongoing COVID pandemic, and as a result, many operations have been forced to adjust to the new normal. That includes the Georgia Museum of Agriculture. Not only have new safety protocols been put in place, there's also the addition of new virtual classrooms. Damon Jones now with more from Tift County.
It's like stepping out of a time machine, as more than 150 years of history is on full display here at the Georgia Museum of Agriculture in Tifton, as visitors get an up-close look at the evolution of Georgia's #1 industry from all different angles.
We have 96 acres here at the museum, and they can see anything from 1870s cabin to a Holt cow, a Piney Woods cow, to a Jersey cow and a giant mule, to you know, how is cotton grown, a water-powered grist mill, to alligator in the lake. So we cover the gamut.
One thing they couldn't account for, however, was a pandemic that would greatly cut into the number of visitors while also canceling school field trips. In fact, they even decided to shut their doors for the better part of 2020.
We're kind of opening back up. We've taken a really cautious approach to COVID and about opening back up. In March of last year, you know, we effectively shut down, and everybody was working from home. Our historic village wasn't open, and so that lasted you know, 6-8 months.
And those precautions are very evident throughout the museum, as safety for those visiting remains a top priority. However, with springtime right around the corner and families looking to get out of the house, the future is looking up.
When we are open, when the village is open, which it's open Tuesday through Saturday now, you know, our visitorship is going up when the weather's nice and allows us to open back up. But yeah, you know, it's really impacted every aspect of our operation.
In order to make up for some of that lost revenue and student involvement, the museum is now offering a new avenue to learning.
There are some silver linings to all those clouds, and we were able to develop some virtual programming, which we really need to do, and that's not going to go away. We're going to continue that past COVID. And it really allowed us to develop another aspect of our programming.
Now, despite this new way to reach students, it doesn't quite replace having the thousands of kids visiting in person each and every week. Not only do the students miss out on the full experience, employees are being affected as well.
You know, it takes a mental toll. That might be kind of hard to understand or explain, but it does in the purpose of why we're here. When we're open and kids are running around, that purpose is staring us in the face. When they're not, and you know, we're not seeing them on a daily basis, and even though, you know, yeah, they might be on a screen that we're talking to them, but it is different, and so there is a mental aspect to it.
Reporting from Tifton, I'm Damon Jones for the Farm Monitor.
Meantime, some things are just made for one another, aren't they? Peanut butter and jelly, for instance, peanuts and Coke, and definitely peanuts and Armand Morris, who was recently elected to his 20th term as chairman of the Georgia Peanut Commission.
I'm very humbled and I'm very honored to have been elected as chairman again of the Georgia Peanut Commission, and We've got, of course, as you know, 5 farmers represent each district in the state of Georgia. We got a lot of good things. We got a lot of good stories to tell. I'm excited about the peanuts, and I think that's what we all need to do as peanut board members and peanut farmers tell our story.
Big announcement coming out of the state capitol, that of a partnership between Central Georgia EMC, Southern Rivers Energy, and Connexon, all teaming up to provide high-speed internet service to 18 middle Georgia counties, most of them rural. The partnership includes an investment of more than $210 million and will total almost 7,000 miles of fiber optic cable. It's something Governor Kemp says is an important step to connect rural Georgia to the rest of the state.
This announcement represents the best of rural Georgia and what can happen here in the Peach State. EMCs, private partners, and community leaders working together on creative solutions to close the gap between those with internet service and those without. This is an important step forward, but make no mistake, we are just getting started.
Well, staying in Atlanta, Georgia's 2021 legislative session is off and running as lawmakers gather under the Golden Dome.
But as John Holcomb reports, things are a little different this year as members learn to govern through the uncharted waters of a global pandemic.
The first year of the 2-year session is underway in Atlanta, but things look a lot different thanks to COVID-19, as normally packed hallways look like this. However, business still continues to get done. It's just a little bit more of a challenge.
The Capitol's definitely been different than normal years as COVID regulations and safety practices have definitely taken hold and been practiced here. The halls are much more empty. Committee meetings are virtual. Legislators are spaced out, not just in the chamber during session, but throughout the Capitol and the other Capitol Hill offices. So it's definitely been a challenge as we try to do our job and meet with them, advocate for agriculture in rural Georgia and their priorities. Just the access has been fairly limited, but everybody has adapted very well to the virtual environment and being able to stream and have access to these meetings virtually anyway, not only for watching but also giving testimony.
And add that to the fact that there are several new faces at the Capitol this year, including in leadership roles.
With the lockdown and coronavirus, we were limited in our work over the summer to get out and meet with legislators in their district. Coupled that with new leadership on both the House and Senate Ag Committees, new Farm Bureau leadership, even UGA College of Ag has a new dean. So a lot of the folks that we work with closely and look to set a plan for the upcoming year have changed in the past couple months, and we've been meeting with them. We're excited to have them in their new roles. Could not ask for better advocates for farmers in rural Georgia, and we're working with them now to update them and them update us on what issues they're seeing with their new perspective and how we can approach some legislation and policy changes that will benefit agriculture.
Despite those challenges, though, things are moving along, as both chambers and the governor are working to help rural Georgia. Right now, the focus is on expanding broadband into rural areas, an issue that was really brought to light due to the pandemic.
We were excited to see the governor propose a large sum of money both this year and in coming years to incentivize rural broadband and really put the state's efforts behind expanding that to our communities so kids have access for virtual learning as well as just small businesses and everybody in our communities. The Senate has taken up Senate Bill 65, dealing with that as well, looking for additional revenue streams and working with the providers to incentivize that.
You can find weekly legislative reports about what's going on at the Capitol by going to gfb.org and clicking on the Advocacy tab. Reporting in Fulton County for the Farm Monitor, I'm John Holcomb.
Well, hey everybody, RangerNet coming up. You know, there's quite a buzz on the campus of Georgia Tech about sustainability. I'm going to share with you a high-tech building that's focused on solar energy, water conservation, and so much more after the break.
bumper-to-bumper traffic for miles waiting to get into food banks.
Keep it going. 10,000 cars lining up at this food bank.
Thousands of people are lining up outside distribution centers all across this country just to feed their families.
It's been a real honor, even though we're in Utah, to make sure that as people are hungry, whether they're within the borders of our state or not, that when people are hungry, they can have access to the great, nutritious, clean food. And there's nothing, as we know in Idaho, better than an Idaho potato to do that.
Eight Oaks Farm Distillery in Lynn Township has shifted all crews and resources to making hand sanitizer and cleaning products.
I knew there wasn't a lot of anything else I could do to help when it first started getting started and schools were closed, but I had fabric and I can sew, and I said, okay, I can do this, no big deal.
Well, the word sustainability gets thrown around a lot these days, and I thought this month I would introduce you to the word sustainability, what it means, and some folks that are studying it and serving as a model for sustainability in the Southeast. And one of those folks happens to be Steve Place. Steve, good to meet you.
Good morning, Nick.
Good morning, good to see you out here. We're in downtown Atlanta, Georgia on the campus of Georgia Tech, and I know this is a good collaboration for these two schools, I promise. And Steve, we're on the rooftop of the Candida building. You are the horticulturist for this building. This is a place that you and I can say for sure we share a love of working with students. What kind of things are going on up here in terms of students and they're learning at Georgia Tech about sustainability right here?
Well, we've got a couple things going on. First, we've got our meadow garden here, which supports our bees, our apiary. Our bees are part of the Urban Honeybee Project, which is housed here on the rooftop garden. Okay. And we've also got a large planting bed here that is basically managed by the students. So they will be involved with every aspect of this garden. They'll help with the plant selection, they'll help with the installation of the plants, and they will help with the harvest. And as a university, we're measuring everything. So if we have success with certain plants, we'll be able to carry on with that. And if we're struggling with something, we'll move on. Right. But it allows us an opportunity to check what we're doing, to really visit how we are using our space, and also incorporating as much as possible the students. So, you know, having them help select the plants, having them assist in every aspect of this garden is a benefit to them, and that's really what we're here for. We are here to help the students understand the natural cycle, and what better way to do that than in a garden.
And creating teachable moments
absolutely,
along the way.
Absolutely.
You know? Yeah.
As we cycle through this, you can see the drip irrigation, which comes from our condensate tank down in the basement. And you know, looping it back, we really start with our solar panels here.
And I was going to ask, yes. So I thought this was a roof at first. These are solar panels. All right.
These are solar panels, and you know, here at Candida, we're asking everything to do multiple purposes. So the first thing those solar panels do is provide shade for the building, so it keeps the building nice and cool. Secondly, we generate all of the power from for this building with those panels. Any excess power that we generate is fed into the Georgia Tech grid. So as part of the Living Building initiative, we are committed to producing 5% more energy than we actually use.
Wow.
In this environment, because the students aren't really in the classrooms as much as they would be, we're actually producing more than that.
A surplus of energy.
A surplus of energy.
So from the rooftop of the Candida building down inside to visit with the director, Sean Aurora. Good to meet you, Sean.
Nice to meet you as well.
Thanks so much for spending some time with us today. Sean's going to talk to us about the story of a raindrop, let's say, and water conservation here.
So everybody is familiar with rain. And if you live in this area, you know that too often rain becomes runoff, becomes a flood. We just think that's the way it's going to be when we're building buildings.
Sure.
But it doesn't have to be that way. It is like a false narrative to think that development is going to result in all the negativity that comes from runoff.
Sure.
This building treats the land like it was a forest. 90% of the rain that falls on this land, this site, is managed on this site.
Wow. Okay.
So the way that happens is 60% of the rainfall is going to be managed outside.
Okay.
We're going to let the water seep into the ground. We've got pervious pavers. We've got concrete with little holes in it. The water goes right through.
Right.
We've got these like bioswales, these little dips where water can fill up and then slowly seep into the ground. So that way we just slow it down. And then 40% of the rain we collect. We harvest it by the solar canopy and by our roof. And then we bring that water into a 50,000-gallon cistern that is under this building.
So let's walk through that journey of that water, because we took a look at the solar system upstairs. Right. Let's take a look at where that water would go, in particular from the bathroom side.
Right.
I've got to be honest with you, Sean, I'm very interested, and the folks at home are interested in how that process works. How are you all composting and treating that kind of water?
Yeah, so, you know, one of the jokes is that we have a lot of potty talk here in the Candida building because everybody understands rain and everybody also goes to the bathroom. It's a way to really connect with people. Well, that 50,000 gallons of water that we are collecting, we're doing something with it. Okay. We're going to treat that water on site and use it for 100% of this building's water uses. That includes the water we use for washing our hands, the water we use for taking a shower, the water that goes down the sink, and the water we use to drink. We have received our water permit, and once we turn the system on, we're going to be the smallest municipal water treatment system in the state of Georgia.
Wow, outstanding.
Yeah, we're the first and hopefully not the last. We've paved the way for other buildings to do what we've done. Wow. Actually, other communities to do what we've done.
Well, although there might not be a lot of beauty in wastewater treatment, part of sustainability, Steve, as I've learned from you today, is the idea of beauty outdoors. And look at what these students are working on the campus of Georgia Tech, this beautiful mural and this sculpture that's going to be part of this landscape. And that's part of their education, and that's part of the environment of this beautiful building. Steve, I got to tell you, thanks so much for today.
It was my pleasure, Nick. Come back anytime.
I will do it. I will certainly do it. And I hope you all have enjoyed learning about sustainability and what they're doing here at Georgia Tech. Well, y'all know what to do. While you're online checking out some more info about the Candida building, hop on over to the Georgia Farm Monitor Facebook page and check out what they've got going on. And while you're there, go on over to the Ranger Nick Facebook page and check that out. And until next time, as we always say, for the Farm Monitor, I'm Ranger Nick, reminding you that enthusiasm is contagious. So pass it on. Y'all, thanks for watching. We'll look forward to seeing you right back here again next month. See ya.
Up next, rising from the wreckage of Hurricane Michael, how aid to Georgia landowners is planting new hope for the future. Finally this week, they say time heals all wounds. Well, yes and no. Nearly 2.5 years after Hurricane Michael, there are still visible scars and wounds spread throughout the South Georgia landscape.
The Georgia Forestry Commission, however, hoping to change all that, and it all starts with the Forest Debris Management Program.
On the evening of October 10th, we knew Hurricane Michael was bearing down on Georgia, but we had no idea it was going to cause the damage that it did, with winds over 100 miles per hour, and ended up all the way in between 2.4 million acres, resulting in over $750 million worth of timber damage.
The anxiety that myself and everybody in the forest industry had, it was just incredible.
The first person that I called for help was Steve, the county forester, early county forester.
Right after the storm, I made myself available as much as possible to landowners. When they called, I tried to answer their questions.
Within a month, the state legislature passed a critical bill. This bill allocated $20 million to Georgia landowners to aid in the cleanup of forest debris.
This was not federal money, this was state money that their legislature had earmarked for them to clean up and mitigate these problems across the landscape.
The main goals of the program were to gain access to forest land for landowners, to prevent catastrophic wildfires, as well as aid in forest restoration.
It costs a great deal to have site prep done.
You know, you pretty much get into gear thinking about, you know, how we're going to get started, how we're going to clean it up, how we're going to salvage.
Creating the program, we put a lot of effort into ensuring checks and balances so that we're responsibly using the taxpayer's dollar, but also creating a program that helps the Georgia forest landowners.
If it hadn't been for the state legislators, then the Forestry Commission would have been hamstrung. They couldn't have offered this assistance without their support.
You know, we have a great forest industry within Georgia, the best in any state there is, and they all pulled together as one.
When I look at that property now and see that it's been burned, I've taken care of the site prep and all of that, and then the seedlings have been planted, it fills me with gratitude.
All of my farming friends in the community and all of us, for the most part, make decisions and do things based on hope.
I'm hopeful for a full restoration of everything that was destroyed and damaged by Hurricane Michael. And our landowners have demonstrated their commitment to overcoming this natural disaster, and it gives me tremendous hope for the future of forestry in the state of Georgia.
Excellent work by the Georgia Forestry Commission, and excellent of you for staying with us the entire show.
Before we send you on your way, a friendly reminder that for all the latest ag news regarding food, great recipes, and what's happening with Georgia agriculture, be sure you check out all of our social media platforms, including farm-monitor.com.
Take care, everybody. We'll see you next time right here on the Farm Monitor.
As always, have a great week.